Yeah, they were so off-key. That was really good. I know. Oh, yeah, follow that. Thank you very much. All right. Well, off we go then. I love catalogs. We get lots of them. Just thought I'd share with you a couple for you, especially those of you who are cranky in the morning. One t-shirt for you says, "I drink coffee for your protection." Yeah, keep the minister and coffee and we'll do just fine in the morning. Another one said, for the Big Bang fans, "Never trust an atom. They make up everything." Oh, not scientifically literate yet, sorry, over your head. Well, try this one. This should be a simple one for everyone. Hummingbirds hum because they can't remember the words. Okay, now we're done. Now, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by the choir? Yes, oh, I have friends who are aides to a senator who I can't name because they just don't want me to. I don't know if it's national security or embarrassment or exactly what it is. But anyhow, I had a chance to talk to them in the last couple of weeks, and they oftentimes will take officials from other countries around to show them different places in Washington and in the area that they live in. And they were hosting an official from Moldova, which is near Russia, and they took him to a smorgasbord. And he walked into the smorgasbord and was absolutely stunned. He broke diplomatic courtesy because he didn't know what to say, because he had never seen a smorgasbord. And he had no clue what it was. And when he finally asked them what it was, they explained what it was. And then the next question was, why? Think about that for a minute. Why? They couldn't come up with any good reason why, except to explain in terms of our capitalistic economy, you know, and free business enterprise system. This is one of the things that somebody's decided to do to make a living and to make money. So they thought they were going to get smart the next time out. This time, a couple weeks later, they hosted an official from Armenia. And instead of going to a smorgasbord, they went to just a regular old diner. Unfortunately, this diner has humongous portions of food. And so the Armenian man ordered his food, got this huge plate of stuff, plus all the other accoutrements to go with it. And all he did was stare at it and said, "Why do we have all this food sitting in front of us?" And as they were talking, the gentleman from Armenia said, "This meal feeds all 5 of us in my family." And, well, my friends, they didn't know what to say about that either. What were they to say? Except, okay. And then they made conversation. And as they were driving him back to their house where he was going to be staying with them for a couple of nights, he finally asked them, "I see everybody's house has an attachment with a big door. Who lives there?" Yeah, you know what they said. "Our cars." And he just looked at them and said, "Your cars have houses?" And they said, "Yes, yes." They didn't feel too good about it, I understand, but yes, that would be a home for a family in my country. And yes, well, it's our home for our cars in our country. Strangers. Well, you may think of strangers as either people to be frightened of or a little nervous about, and we all are on occasion, time to time, uncertain about strangers. In the Bible, there's a whole stream that runs through about strangers being mirrors and guides, in some sense, feeding back our lives to us, even as we are strangers to other people and feed back to them their lives and and their values and things like that. Yesterday on the way home, Debbie and I were coming back from Chris's graduation from Millersville, and I saw the most gorgeous landscape as I was driving by. Magnificent, beautiful, everything's in bloom, and all the yellow pollen is now sitting on our car. But it was gorgeous. And there was a lovely sign, beautiful sign that said, "Rest in peace." And I said to Debbie, "What a gorgeous cemetery." And I couldn't look anymore, and she said, "Duh, dummy." That would be me. "What are you talking about? It's a storage shed." "Pardon me?" "It's storage sheds." "Well, who goes there to rest in peace?" I said. "Apparently everybody does." "What color are they?" "They're barn red, very tasteful with the landscape." And I thought, well, okay then. That says a little something else about what we rest in peace in our storage sheds and the relative value of things. Now, in the context of Jesus being and claiming to be the Good Shepherd, the one promise that he consistently makes is that your life has value, it has purpose, and it has an authenticity about it because he has created you from the beginning, placed you here on the planet, not even against your will. You're just here. You're just plopped here. And he has said, "I love you, and I'm going to give you the equipment so that you can live. And with that special gifting that I will give you through the Holy Spirit, I'm also going to make you a little smarter. And I'm going to also give you a conscience that you're going to have to use as a sort of a compass and a guide. And I'm also going to give you the gifts of courage and the gifts of mind, heart, and soul, so that you can use all of the equipment I give you personally to do that which is significant and valuable and important." Now, in the first reading that Edith read this morning from Acts, you saw the early Christians got together, and they were much in the same situation as we were. Jesus had ascended to heaven by that time, and so they were living their lives. And contrary to opinion, okay, whatever you have heard about the early Christians being dirt poor, that is not true. Okay, they may have an article in Reader's Digest written by somebody who's not very bright, but likes to move us emotionally about the poverty of the early Christians. Yes, it was a mixed bag, just like every congregation today is a mixed bag of people economically. But what they did, here's the smart thing they did. Yes, they used the equipment, the gifts of the Spirit, thinking about their lives as being authentic servants on behalf of God to make the world a better place to be. I know, I just used a cliche from a beauty contest to make the world a better place to be. And we're looking for world peace too. Yes, we are. Well, it all happens to be true. But what they did, they looked at all of their stuff. And this is where thinking the faith becomes so important. If you don't think about your faith, and you just think about it, do it emotionally, you're going to pretty much miss a lot of what Jesus is telling you as a good shepherd. A good shepherd is one who will tell you the truth about yourself and your life, up to and including the point where you will know when you have so much stuff that you're sucking on the earth instead of adding to it. The way the Bible understands it, the way Jesus taught it, the way we've been brought up into it, is that we're given all that we need in order to live, in order to serve, in order to help, in order to be good people in the world here. And all of the extra stuff that we accumulate and have, the Bible understands, as Jesus taught, it is a gift from God so that we can use it for the sake of other people. Now, many of you already do that. I was talking to somebody at the early service after the service was said, "Oh, my closet is so full, I went and bought new clothes, and I have to empty my closet, and it is a pain in the neck, I'm telling you. Well, there's nothing there that you haven't said or had occasion to do, too. Your closet is full, you got a lot of stuff, and you need to unload it. So you want to know where to go. Salvation Army, church, somewhere you're going to take it somewhere. So you know something of the nature of getting rid of your excess stuff. Jesus simply teaches that as the Good Shepherd, he will send, in this case, strangers into your life who will question both your values and your motives and your purposes. In other words, to shine on your life, so that you've got to give some thought to how you're living and for what reason. The promise he makes is that by the gift of his Spirit, that you will know through your conscience, through your soul, is whether you're living an authentically valuable life in the sense of adding to other people's lives and helping them. How you do that and in what form that takes, I can't say that. Only you would know that, but you do know. And when you see all of the stuff, including the house where your car lives, you will be able to make a good, honorable, not fair, but an honorable estimation of your worth and what it is that God has given you extra, so that you can apply that in ways which will be helpful and meaningful and important to other people, and also feed back to you that your life does have value and purpose and significance. You see how it works, that stranger thing? It gives you feedback, which is what we desperately need, so that we can't live a lie, in other words. Can't live a lie. Well, that is the gift that we have been given. That's why we call this Sunday every year Good Shepherd Sunday. Because Jesus, the Good Shepherd, doesn't lie to you. He doesn't diss you. He doesn't screw you. He doesn't ever play with you. He tells you the truth. And you can see that in here through the image of strangers. Now, the strangers in our midst, and I don't mean here, just in our lives generally, will always try to dissuade you away from using your things for the sake of the world. And they'll do it in a variety of ways. You know that as well as I do. So we live delusionally. But your calling is to live with honor and integrity. And that means taking stock of what God has given you and using it and having fun with it. Jerry Seinfeld has a little bit of a quote here. Now, I'm going to tell you about this story. It's a 5-year-old. Remember when Jesus said, you got to sometimes think like a child if you want to get the point? I got this for, what is it, Soup for the Soul, that series? Chicken Soup? Yeah, a guy by the name of Dan Mulligan wrote this. He worked as a volunteer at a hospital at Stanford University Hospital on the West Coast. Got to know a little girl named Liza who needed a major blood transfusion in order to live. The blood donor, which was really rare, turned out to be her 5-year-old brother. So the doc asked if he could take the can I take your blood so your sister can live? And he thought about it very briefly, and the 5-year-old said, yeah, okay. So anyhow, as he's getting the blood transfusion, he's in the bed next to his sister, and then he looked up at the doctor and asked, will I start to die right away? He wasn't getting that he was just given some of his blood. He thought she was getting it all and he was going to die. Will I start to die right away? And the doc said, no, we're just taking some, we're not taking all of it. So you'll be okay. But I thought it was interesting in the context of that story, the little kid, when Jesus talks about faith, young faith, of a kid, that young boy would just have done that. And just wondered if it was going to hurt. But he was happy his sister was going to live. He got the idea about the authenticity of living. And Jerry Seinfeld, meditating on his life as he's getting older and dyeing his hair so it still looks nice, brown, dark brown. Do a little Botox there to look good. I wonder how I'll do with Botox. Is that in the budget? Okay, you find it somewhere. He says this: life is truly a ride. We're all strapped in and no one can stop it. As you make each passage from youth to adulthood to maturity, sometimes you put your arms up and scream. Sometimes you just hang on to the bar in front of you. But the ride is the thing. I think the most you can hope for at the end of life is that your hair's messed up, you're out of breath, and you didn't throw up. Well, that makes sense to me. And that's the promise that the Good Shepherd we know as Jesus will make to you. You're strapped in for an interesting ride, one that has meaning and value and purpose. And God bless you, even if you do throw up, that's okay. That's why we have a congregation. We clean up after each other. And then we go on, and we live, and we share, and we're authentic.